Hello and welcome to another Pauper video. Today I'm playing Blue-White Familiars again, but we're bringing Murmuring Mystic back into the battlefield. Why am I doing this? I think that the Murmuring Mystic deck is really fun to play, so I want to play a fun deck. I also think that playing a bunch of cantrips, allowing you to find your interaction like Snap, Dawnbringer Cleric, or your Last Breaths, Nature's Chant, etc. I think that will be a good way of fighting against the really fast metagame of Blue-White Glitters. I've also changed the deck slightly. So the mana base, I'm going to 19 lands here with 2 Ash Barrens, 1 Broker's Hideout. That's just so I can have more early blue sources for my cantrips, but still with the 4 Azorius Chancery. I think that is really good for enabling Snap. Got 4 Faithfuls and 1 Cleric. This is so that I can have more Ground Pounders to block against red decks. I'm playing 3 counterspells. I think that's a fine amount of counterspells for the deck. But I'd really just like having counterspell itself because it's really powerful. So I'm going with that. I know you could play Prohibit or stuff, but I think it's just better to have a hard counter and we just don't use it when we don't need it. Then counterspell is kind of neat because it also works with Meeting the Minds because you're holding everything up on your opponent's turn and drawing on their turn. And of course, Murmuring Mystic, which Murmuring Mystic plus Meeting of Minds is really kind of like a drug, basically. You're just spewing birds, drawing cards, making birds, drawing more cards, play the answer, make some birds, draw some cards. It's so sweet. And then you've got your 4 Mole Drifters, 3 Lorien Revealeds. Since we're not playing Deep Analysis, I think that having more Lorien Revealeds is very good for the deck, so I'm keeping it that way. In the sideboard here, I'm keeping my 2 Circle of Protection blue, which is something that I didn't play in the last time that I had the Mystic deck, and we ended up losing to Terror. Last time I played FAMs, I also died to Elves, so you can see my tilt add to Last Breaths here. Got 2 Negates. I think this is a good way to have interaction versus control decks. We're going down on ways to defeat the initiative, but I think that's probably okay. And then I've got 1 Loose Focus here as our other counterspell. With the large amount of cantrips, I'm playing just 5 Hydroblast effects, and then 3 Nature's Chant for glitters. I haven't really found a better way to deal with glitters other than the Nature's Chant and snapping their stuff. If you do have an idea of how Blue-White Familiars can deal with glitters, let me know. I considered maybe playing Esper for Snuff Out, so maybe that's something we can look forward to in another video. So far, that is the deck. If you're looking for more information about Familiars, check out the pinned video on my channel, which explains the deck, how to play on Magic Online, and a lot of the combos. Also, the Patreon, which is linked in the description below, which is patreon.com/kalikaiz, for more Familiars articles and sideboard guides. And make sure to like and subscribe. Really appreciate that. Helps out the channel a lot. If you want to play in paper, there's a Pauper 2K in Binghamton, New York at Dragon Master Games on February 24th. That will also be linked in the description below. And there is all of my talking for right now, so let's go ahead and get into the matches. Okay, we're here in round 1. We have an acceptable hand. We're going to keep. Our opponent is mulliganing to 6. We've got Dawnbringer Cleric as a turn 2 play if we want to. We can also cycle and ponder on turn 2. Thornwood Falls, so there may be TurboFog. Play the plains and pass the turn. If they are TurboFog, then we're in for a long but pretty solid game here. Playing an island makes me think that they're definitely TurboFog. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is just... Well, now I found a familiar, so I run the familiar out. I was going to say maybe just Dawnbringer Cleric and then eat something from their graveyard. Next turn here that they played the Frantic, I'm going to Dawnbringer Cleric away the Frantic. They cycle Molten Tributary, so they're on Teamer something. Exile your Frantic. Play the Azorius Chancery, and we're going to pick up the Plains. They could be something other than TurboFog, but really looks like TurboFog to me. They're foretelling a Behold the Multiverse. Find our Murmuring Mystic. Okay, so let's get that going. Put the Mystic on the table. And let's just ponder. So now they're going to have to start fogging pretty quickly. Okay, I'll put the familiar island. So we're not going to shuffle. I'm going to draw the island. And then next turn, draw a familiar. We can then play familiar plus Muldrifter or familiar plus Lorien Revealed. Drawing another familiar isn't great, but definitely want the second one at least. Our opponent's casting Preordain, passing the turn. Let's play a familiar. Maybe I shouldn't have tapped like that. I'm going to counter my familiar. Okay, so now I'm going to evoke this Drifter, draw my second familiar, and then put the Drifter on top with the Mortuary Mire. Having drawn the Mortuary Mire here versus TurboFog is really huge. Yes. And swing out for 3. So they're allowing us to draw 2 cards here off the Arcane Denial, and we will draw the 2. Next turn it's Familiar plus Muldrifter, maybe Ponder as well. Cast Behold the Multiverse. Scries 2 top. Finds a Growth Chamber to pick up an island. They've got potentially for another counterspell here. Molten Tributary means we are looking at potentially Breath Weapon from our opponent. Let's play our Familiar. No counterspell. We have a Muldrifter. The Breath Weapon will clean up all of our birds. And it seems that they're going to play a Fog this turn. Nope, they're going to cast... I have no idea what they're doing. They're tapping and untapping. We have Meeting the Minds now. Let's just swing out, I guess. And then... I guess I'm just going to Preordain and see if we can make sure we don't draw too many lands next turn. We can still Meeting of Minds on their end step as well. Okay, I don't want the Familiar or the land at the moment. Find a counterspell. That's very good. They could certainly untap and play... Okay, they Frantic for 1 card. I'm kind of happy that we ended up eating the Frantic with the Dawnbringer Cleric. I guess I could have snapped the Cleric to eat the Deep Analysis too. That might have been a smart idea. I kind of forgot that was in their graveyard. The Deep Analysis go to 9 cards. Plays a Brainstorm. I'm not used to playing against TurboFog or really even playing with the Cleric, so I kind of forgot all of these things. But we can just snap and replay this to eat stuff from the graveyard. 2 mana. They cast Weather the Storm. Okay, they're going to gain 9 life. And on end step, we're going to cast Meeting the Minds. Draw 2 cards. No second Meeting Minds. Alright, got an island. Get an attack. Swing out for everything. I want to just eat the Frantic right now. Let's Ponder first. I guess I'm looking for an Archaeomancer. I definitely don't want these, so we'll shuffle here. Let's... Oops. Go ahead and snap this Cleric. Just to do what I was talking about, eat the Frantic. Exile the Frantic from your graveyard. Okay, we got that one away. And then let's start on draw 3. Find a Flicker. So I can Preordain, looking for an Archaeomancer to make infinite birds. Don't find Mancer, but we find Muldrifter Snap. I'll top both of these. I can now just snap the Cleric again. Because I'm going to be making white mana here with my Drifter Snap Drifter. And then I'm going to go evoke the Drifter, snap it. I do probably have to worry about not getting decked. So maybe I don't want to go too hard on this. I just want to make enough to actually kill them. Let's evoke the Drifter again. So we can calculate how much they can do. So this is for every 4 mana they have in play, they can mill us 4 cards, plus the initial 1 mana for the Stream of Thought. So it would be 4, 5 mana for 8 cards. So we're at 27. We're not in danger right now. We draw a Meeting of the Minds, so let's cast that. Tapping the Muldrifter. Draw. What do we got? Nothing much. Snap the Drifter again. We're going to untap. And now I can cast my Muldrifter or just play the Cleric. And hold up Counterspell. Let's Cleric. Exile your Weather the Storm, I guess. Maybe the Arcane Denial would have been a better thing to exile. And let's just pass holding up counterspell, getting rid of a bunch of tap lands. I don't need the plains or these two. Get rid of the island. My plan next turn is probably to Chancery back the plains here. We play a desert. Has Frantic Inventory to draw one card. I say, okay. Second Frantic Inventory. I will counterspell. Get my value out of that counterspell. And they're just going to dispel. Okay. So now they can have a fog lined up. I think we might be able to find a counterspell though for their fog. So they'd have to fog on upkeep if they really want to make sure it happens. We draw a counterspell anyway. So I'm gonna cast my Muldrifter, draw some cards. Fog, counterspell. So fog is countered. And we win the game. Alright. Bird Overload. We want the negates and the loose focus. Getting rid of all the faithfuls. And then maybe 2 Hydroblasts, putting 1 snap. A little bit concerned about them having the breath weapon, but I don't know how many red cards they're actually bringing in, so I don't think it's useful to go too hard on this. The Dawnbringer Cleric was pretty good, eating a few things from the graveyard, and obviously the Dawnbringer Cleric can help cast Meat in the Mines. We'll submit it this way. Oh, Nature's Chant also is a consideration for post board if they're bringing in a lot of relics and stuff, so we'll have to see what they do. Okay, we opened a really cool hand. I'm going to keep this one. It's slow, but we have double meeting. And with Murmuring Mystic, I think it's pretty sweet. We just have to make sure the Murmuring Mystic resolves. Although they could Pyroblast it, I guess. So here we find Preordain, which means I can go Island, Preordain, then just not crack this hideout and play Chancery, picking up the land and then discarding the hideout. But the hideout is going to allow me to play Murmuring Mystic on turn 4. But I think I probably can just Preordain because I will probably find a land. Let's just start doing things ASAP. I was telling somebody that when you're playing Familiars, okay, our opponent cycles. Alright, Muldrifter and Snap. I think I like this, so I can go Drifter, Snap, Drifter at some point. Pop these both. When you're playing Familiars, you end up having a lot of actions that you can take, and I think it's probably correct to just take them. Just do as much as you can, taking actions like crazy. So here, we did not find that next land, so I think my plan is to discard the Chancery and then play the Broker's Hideout on the next turn, so that I have the option to play Murmuring Mystic on turn 4. Or the Medium Mines. Then Growth Chamber back the Desert. Holding up a Pyroblast. Alright, go land, pass. Grabbing an island. Having drawn another land, I'm kind of disappointed in discarding the Chancery, I guess. The Chancery will do a lot over time, but it's kind of slow. Okay, they're passing the turn. We're going to cycle. Getting a land. Probably they have a Pyroblast. So I'm going to Meeting of Minds on their end step and then start casting Drifters. We have no counterspells lined up. Okay. Cast Meeting of Minds. They had played a Quandrix Campus, which is like this scryish land thing. Okay, we can play Familiar. Land. I think I'm going to go for Drifter, Snap, Drifter. Well, the Murmuring Mystic is a win condition, but it doesn't actually advance us against their plan. So if they counter this, it's much better than them countering the Muldrifter. So let's play the Mystic. If they had the Pyroblast that I was thinking about. They don't. Okay. That's a surprise. Play Thornwood Falls and gain a life. Pass the turn. Okay, let's lead on Preordain. Then we can Medium Mines for 0. Another Familiar and a Drifter. Top. Play the Familiar. Go ahead and Medium Mines. 0 mana. Oh, that feels good. Like a drug. We go for a Dispel. Let's evoke the Drifter. Okay, we draw 2. Then we can snap the Drifter. So that's actually going to be +1 mana if that resolves. Snap. You have a response. There's the Pyroblast. Oh no, Breath Weapon. Okay. So snap does not resolve. Send 1. And I was pretty clear on them having Breath Weapon in their 75, just wasn't sure if they were going to keep it. Obviously, Breath Weapon sets us back a little bit, but not too much. Play another familiar. Let's hardcast a Drifter for 2 mana. Sweet. That resolves. Play Mortuary Mire, getting back another Drifter. Love drawing the Mortuary Mire here. They're going to return to nature, exiling my Drifter. Okay. That's okay. So I have to be aware of that. And I have to be very careful with my flicker here, that means. Because if we get that flicker exiled, then we can't flicker the Mortuary Mire to end up not decking. Our opponent tapping for 5 mana. Lorien revealed. Okay. Or they play a Growth Chamber, probably picking up the... Okay, they pick up a basic. Alright, we can cast Drifter for 2 again. Draw 2 cards. Hydroblast Counterspell. In Floodplain. And I will attack for 3. Having the Counterspell makes me more likely to go for the Flicker. Angle. Okay. Entangled. I think I'm going to Flicker here. Draw 4 cards. For 1 mana. Give Negate and Snap. So now I can... Let's see. I think I just pass. I have Negate and Snap, which is 3 blue pips. We only have 2 blue pips. Snap can make another blue if we snap our own creature. But we'd have to try for the Negate and see if they have a second counterspell. And then we would have to snap our creature and then use our counterspell. Or if they have a Pyroblast, we have the Negate plus Hydroblast. Let's see. We're passing the turn. I'm going to cycle for an island off of the white mana so that I have Hydroblast and Negate available, as well as Snap. Getting an island. Okay, draw. Preordain. Let's lead on a Preordain. Now I'm going to try to hold up a bunch of counters. Another counterspell. I think I probably don't want that next Hydroblast, though. Preordain again. Snap I will keep. Bottom of the land. Play the land, and let's attack. And then I'm probably going to just snap and play my Muldrifter. Snap the Drifter. Go for a Breath Weapon. We have the Hydroblast. Okay. Drifter goes back to hand. Now I can just... I think I'm going to evoke Drifter. Then snap it. This one. Okay. Untap. And we drew the Mancer, so we just have to play that out now. Mancer, get back Flicker. And now we can Flicker for Infinite Birds. They're at 14 life. But they could have a Weather the Storm here, so let's pass the turn. We can Flicker a couple of times on their end step if we want. Cast a Swirling Sandstorm. I will cast a Negate. And they scoop it up. Cool. Guess that was easy. Let's go to round 2. Round 2 versus Van 3. Nice to meet you, and good luck, have fun. We're going to keep because I've got cantrips and stuff to do. They play an island. Let's play our dual land. Playing that on turn 1 is pretty nice. We also have Ponder plus Shuffle. Okay, they're on familiars as well, which it'll be interesting to see how this version lines up. Ponder. Okay, I will take the familiar. And then I am going to shuffle here. The cantrip is okay, but I don't want that land that's underneath it. They have 3 mana. Alright, I guess I'm just going to play out the familiar. They could counter it. Prohibit, okay. So they did not copy my list, because I'm not playing Prohibit. Probably playing... Okay, so you see Brainstorm here. This is probably like Adeptoterra's Meeting in the Mind, Seagate Oracle, Brainstorm as a 2-of. Yep, there's a Seagate Oracle. I think I'm going to Archaeomancer for Ponder, and then next turn play the Muldrifter. Trying to get creatures on the table so I can cast Meeting in the Minds eventually. And losing our familiar is definitely a problem, but what are we going to do? Gotta go for it. Make them have it. Merchant Scroll, trying to find a snap or something, or a counterspell. Reveals Counterspell, straight up. Okay. Let's ponder. So we get Dawnbringer, Cleric, Faithful. Don't really want the Faithful. Answer's okay. Cleric, I'm going to keep. No shuffle. Play out the Cleric. If they use a counterspell. Pretty funny. Okay. Pass the turn. So I know I have Faithful and a Chancery underneath. Brainstorm. I'm going to shuffle with the Lorien revealed, grabbing an island. Then I can see what's up on the next turn. Cast Arcanemancer, get back counterspell. Okay. So they were able to get value off the Brainstorm by brainstorming and then shuffling with the scroll. Cycle for an island. Looking for a familiar still. One has counterspell in hand. 4 or 5. Let's play out a Mulldrifter. Find a Snap and a Chancery. I'll play out my dual Chancery, picking up the island, and then I can discard this lanes. Getting close to 0 mana Meeting Minds. One has 7 cards in hand. They cycle a Lorien revealed. Or an island. Play the island. They've got 6 mana available and 6 cards in hand. One of them is a counterspell. That's it for them right now. Okay, land. Let's pass the turn. Since they're holding up counterspell. We have double Meeting of Minds. Okay, they play a land and pass. Meeting of Minds. Doot, doot, doot. They'll allow it. Cast another Meeting of Minds. Well, actually, let's cycle for an island first. And cast Meeting of Minds again. They have counterspell in hand. And a bunch of other cards that they didn't cast. 1 Prohibit. So they could have counterspell plus Prohibit in hand, maybe Flicker or Ephemerate. They're considering countering this. That makes me think that they have Ephemerate in hand. Let's see. Here's the counterspell. No? It's kind of darned if you do, darned if you don't, because I could draw into a counterspell. Looks like they're going to snap my creature. Casting counterspell. And then what? Snap? 5 cards in hand. You're going to flicker your 2 creatures. Then get back counterspell. Okay. Arcanemancer is going to return what? Counterspell. So they don't value the flicker in hand. Okay. Play the island. So I know that they're going to counterspell the familiar. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll probably counterspell the Arcanemancer. So if they counterspell the Arcanemancer, then I can go Drifter, Flicker, Drifter, Snap, and then go from there after playing familiar. Play my Arcanemancer. Likely counterspell here. Okay. I'm going to go familiar. Let's snap my own Arcanemancer. I can use that for Meeting of Minds later. I can also snap their Arcanemancer. But then they can just hardcast it, get back counterspell. I think I'm just going to make them waste their mana here. Go Drifter, and then snap it. Untap. Okay. Let's draw 3. Ponder, looking for a Meeting of Minds. There we go. Play out a Faithful. Can attack you. And then hardcast the Meeting of Minds for 0. Doot. Alright. So we still haven't drawn any of our counterspells, but we're way ahead on cards. We have a lot more on the board as well. They can play their Arcanemancer, get back the counterspell or the flicker, and grab the counterspell. 7 cards in hand still. I'm going to snap my familiar, ephemerate the Arcanemancer. Getting what? Getting the Prohibit. So they're all in on trying to counter me out here. I mean, I could like... how many snaps have I used? A bunch? 1, 2, 3. Find an Ephemerate. Preordain. Find a Mystic. Okay, I wonder if they'll counterspell that. Top. Play Murmuring Mystic. Preordain. So I'm getting value here. They do have Ephemerate going. Let's bottom and top the Ponder. I'm looking for a Snap. Or a Counterspell. Counterspell would really be what I want. Another Ephemerate. Okay, I do want that. Don't want the Broker's Hideout. Take the Ephemerate, no shuffle. I'm going to, let's see, play out the island. Go ahead and swing. Next turn, I think I can probably get them to use a counterspell if I have the Mold Drifter and stuff. So they're going to Ephemerate. They have Prohibit and Counterspell in hand, plus Ephemerate. Get back the Ephemerate. Plays their own Murmuring Mystic. Sure. 1 mana. I think I'm going to have the advantage here because I already had the Familiar in play. They play an Ash Barrens. They have Counterspell, Ephemerate. I will attempt to Ephemerate my Mold Drifter. Probably leads to some interaction. They play their Prohibit. Okay. Now they have Counterspell plus Ephemerate. Going to go for draw 3. That resolves. That's very surprising. Okay. Cast Mold Drifter. Okay, we find Mystic and Faithful. And a Familiar. Right. Attack. But right now we have a better flying force. They're going to take 4 here. Let's pass. Now they're going to Ephemerate back the Prohibit. Can't really do anything. I'm really surprised that they let my draw 3 resolve, to be honest. We'll discard the Faithful. Alright, they're Ephemerating again. Do. Gets back Ephemerate. Counterspell still in hand. Plays a Faithful. They play the Chancery, so they're going to pick up and cycle the Ash Barrens. They've got Ephemerate, Counterspell, 3 unknowns. Ephemerate, Counterspell, Island, 3 unknowns. Well, let's go play Familiar. Play Murmuring Mystic. Just snap resolves, I guess. Preordain. Making a ton of birds. Bottom. Let's top the Mortuary Mire. And then Mire getting back Chaomancer. And then I'm going to swing back for a very large amount. I know they have multiple counterspells in hand, so going to Ephemerate, getting back a scroll. Okay. Trading birds. Takes 4 damage. They're going to 8. You can see the power of Ephemerate here. Like, they have us pretty well under their thumb, while we've drawn a billion cards and we still don't have the win here. We just haven't been able to get our Ephemerates going. Ephemerates for Ephemerate. So I can cast multiple counterspells this turn. Plays a Faithful. 1, 2. Merchant Scroll. Sure. Revealing a Prohibit. Okay, so they've not cast their Ephemerate. Going to Ephemerate now. Okay, using their extra mana they have available. So they have 2 Prohibits and a counterspell in hand. Jeez. That's not great. So 1, 2, 3. They can cast all 3 of them. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and Mancer. Try to get back the Ephemerate. Or maybe even the Lorien Revealed. They have to use a full kicked Prohibit or cast a counterspell. Go for a counterspell. And they've already used their Ephemerate. So I can cast a Mold Drifter now. Cannot counter. Play the Chancery. Picking up the Mortuary Mire. This is getting ridiculous, honestly. We found 0 counterspells. Jeez. We're still pressuring them, at least. They're trading all their birds. But at 8 life. Yep. So they're Ephemerating now, getting back Ephemerate. They've got still the Counterspell and the double Prohibit in hand. I'm just going to F6. Do your thing. Rolls again. They're going to Echoing Truth. What are you going to Echoing Truth, though? I don't know. It's almost like they're not playing Familiars in their deck. They they don't have, like, we've drawn so many more cards, but they have so much more card advantage just from looping the ephemerates, and we haven't found a way to actually get our ephemerates going. Haven't been able to tap them out because they have a lot going on. Mortuary Mire, get back a Muldrifter. That's the turn. That's the turn again. Now I think we have to just, like, hang out until forcing them to do something. Play an Archaeomancer. Sure. Gets back Ghostly Flicker. Okay. Ephemerates the Archaeomancer. Gets back what? Merchant Scroll. Okay. Merchant Scroll. Okay. We're tapping low. Gets a snap. Snap on what? Mystic? I will snap in response. They're going to use a Prohibit. Okay. Still have Counterspell in hand. Evoke some Muldrifter. Alright. We might be able to get there. Right now they are low on cards, or on available mana. They're going to Ephemerate the Muldrifter. Okay. So the only way that they can get mana back right now is with Snap, so I can Ephemerate my Archaeomancer for Ephemerate, and then Ephemerate again to get Snap to stop their Snap from happening. Okay, perfect. Ephemerate. So we were able to let them feel confident enough to actually have achieved getting back into the game, getting our Ephemerates going. Get the Snap. Snap my Murmuring Mystic. This stops them from getting extra cards, and they scooped it up, which is surprising. Muldrifter, Counterspell, Flicker. So we would have gotten to the point where we get back our stuff and zoop them all out. Oh, they scooped for time purposes. Okay. Just make sure to turn off animations when you're playing familiars. Get rid of all these faithfuls. Bring in my 2 last breaths. Honorary Cleric's kind of medium. I feel like Last Breath will be good in this matchup, though, obviously. Kill your familiar forever. We only have 6 counterspells. They probably have a lot more than that. By turning off animations on Magic Online, click this little gear, unclick Enable Animations. That's why things just pop around the battlefield. You have them on, they kind of zoop, zoop all over the place. This would be a good hand if we had a second land, but our opener has Lorien Chancery, so we have to mulligan. Alright, this hand is fine. Let's keep it. We can get rid of 1 cantrip, maybe? Ponder. So our plan is just island, holding up Counterspell. We can preordain looking for a snap. Our opponent mulligans to 5 cards. I play island. Be island as well. Preordain. Alright, I will top and top. Planning to play out the island holding Counterspell and then cycling for planes. They have a familiar. Land pass. Play land. We're going to cycle. Grab our planes. Draw for turn. Preordain. Gonna preordain here. Looking for an island. An island counterspell. Don't think I want the counterspell now, but I just want the lands. Play the island. Pass the turn. So now I can counterspell a Muldrifter. Looks like they are going to play Meaning of Minds, so I'm going to negate that. That's the turn. I really just negated that there because our opponent mulliganed to 5. And I want to make sure they don't have cards. Let's play land familiar. Let's see if they have a counterspell. They do not. Next turn we can Drifter or Drifter Flicker Drifter. Hold up counterspell afterwards. We have a Seagate Oracle. Let's counterspell again. Okay, the Mortuary Mire back to Seagate Oracle. 1 card in hand is not a counterspell, it appears. Lorien Revealed. So actually, I think I'm going to cycle for an island. Play that. And then just play my draw 3. Pass the turn. Draw 3s are very powerful. I mean, having Muldrifter on the battlefield is good, but I'd rather have more cards in hand just to deal with what they're doing. I play a Seagate Oracle. I can now have a couple options. Murmuring Mystic, and then that's going to be it. Or play the Muldrifter. Our opponent evokes a Muldrifter. They may have Ephemerate in hand. They have an Ephemerate, okay. So that's huge for them. Draws them a bunch of cards. Now they have Meeting of Minds. Wow, that was a big recovery for them. Play Island. Let's evoke a Drifter. No remove soul for the opponent. Flicker, Drifter, Island. They have a Prohibit. Cannot cast Prohibit on the Flicker. And then now we can play our Archaeomancer. Get back to Flicker. Then go ahead and... I guess I want a Meeting of Minds on their turn. Or maybe I could save the Meeting of Minds. I don't know. We've got an Ephemerate though, landing on their Muldrifter. Draws 2 and then draws 1 for turn, so they're back to 7 cards in hand with a Familiar in play. I have no counterspells in my hand, but I have the Negate and Counterspell in the graveyard. Plays a Merchant Scroll, revealing a Counterspell. So they have to leave 2 mana open for that. Right? Cast Meeting Minds. I mean, at any moment, if we have mana open, we can just flicker here to get cards. Let's see. Play Murmuring Mystic. They cast Remove Soul. Alright, I'm going to go for... Play the land. Pick up the island. Go for Snap on their Familiar. And then they probably use their Counterspell. And then I'm going to attempt to Last Breath their Familiar. Prohibit. Okay. So now I'm going to wait, and then I will, guess, Last Breath their Familiar on their turn. Annoying. I don't really have a response here. If I flicker, they counterspell. So one Mancer down. Not great. They still have counterspell in hand. Plays a Brainstorm. Go for the Last Breath, so they have to counterspell right now. They let their Familiar get exiled. Okay. A little bit surprising to me. Okay, they put the cards back. They probably still have Counterspell in hand. They're going to hardcast Lorien Revealed. Still have Counterspell available. So if we cast our own Lorien Revealed, it gets countered. 2 mana. They snap my Familiar. Okay. Let's play Murmuring Mystic. I tapped incorrectly. Darn. Cast Meeting of Minds. Land. Let's ponder. I need some counters. Snap is not very good. I'm gonna any order shuffle. That's the turn. And Snap is okay, but not really where I want to be. Familiar for our opponent. 2 cards in hand. Second Familiar, so that's why they didn't give a hoot. It's in for 1 damage. Alright, so all my Mystics are in the graveyard. Preordain, see if you can find a counterspell. Negate and a Mortuary Mire. Top and top. So we can play Familiar. If I Ephemerate the Muldrifter, the Mortuary Mire, let's draw. I have a Prohibit, I have a Negate. Draw some cards. Find a counterspell. So I'm going to Mortuary Mire back my Mystic and pass the turn. Put that on top. I have so many draws lined up. 5 mana draw spells all over the place. And I've got Counterspell in hand. They do not attack. You Ephemerate, draw a bunch of cards. Poor Archaeomancer is just exiled over there. Play out Mystic. And then I guess I Drifter Ephemerate here. Evoke. GG. Multi 5, not very good. We'll see in round 3. Okay, round 3 on the draw or play versus France Who. Alright, I like this hand. And the reason being we have a Faithful into turn 2 Faithful Preordain with Brokers here, grabbing the plains. Our opponent also keeps 7. Plains for us. Now, I really like these pixel lands, and they actually printed another set of pixel lands, but they're not snow covered, and they're more like fancy and pretty. Springleaf Drum, so we're up against Glitters. Looks like Jeskai Glitters. So Snap in the hand is good. Glinthawk picking up Opter. Sure. Glad I have the Faithful in hand. We'll see how my deck fares against Glitters. I'm a little nervous. Okay, I don't want this. Take the Chancery. My plan is basically to play the Chancery, picking up the planes and preordain. But if they do glitters here, we can snap and do more stuff. Just go ahead and murder the crud out of my faithful. It is super murdered. There's another Glinthawk. Picking up. They're going hyper aggro with the Glinthawk plan. Okay, we're at 22. We're going to go down to 20. 2 cards in hand. Now they have 4 artifacts. So Lorien revealed I'm far from casting, right? So maybe I ponder here, looking for a faithful or a snap or a familiar. Ash Barrens, medium mines, ephemerates. Can shuffle this. Okay. Cycle for an island. Play the Chancery. Picking this up. Next turn we can snap a hawk and play a drifter. Still not. It's a tough situation because I don't really want to just snap something that hasn't been suited up, but I also don't want it to get suited up. If I snap their Glinthawk, I can hard cast a drifter though, which is probably good enough. Then I can trade for the other Glinthawk and hope to draw into something else. Mere Enforcer for the opponent. Yep, that's a big creature. Gets in for 4. I think okay, we find a familiar. So Fam, snap the Enforcer, and then play the Muldrifter for hard cast. Oh man, looks like they have another removal spell. That sucks. Okay. And I'll preordain. Okay, find Arcane Mounts or Counterspell. So I'll top these. Pass the turn. I can counterspell the Enforcer. Then the next turn, hard cast a Muldrifter. I can go Arcane Mancer, getting back Counterspell or whatever. And I'm lined up, but I am taking 4 turns, so don't have forever. Play a Ginger Brute. Can't do anything about it. I mean, I could. Attack for 5. Yep. Then play a 1-mana Enforcer. Counterspell. And my turn. Land. And Muldrifter. So we're just hoping that they don't draw glitters randomly, but they certainly could. They're going to make the Ginger Brute unblockable. Swings out. Okay. I'll trade with your Hawk. 3. Plays another Glinthawk. I'm going to pick up and replay the Ornithopter again. We are close to dead. So I can play... I can Drifter, Flicker, Drifter. Oak the Drifter. I'm looking for a Faithful here. Medium Mines. I'm going to Flicker here in case I draw a Faithful on the plains. Not draw a Faithful. Alright. I can cycle the Lorien Revealed for an island. That's the turn. Then next turn I can Arcane Mancer for a snap. And then I can do Arcane Mancer snap shenanigans. Play another Ginger Brute. Attacks for 4. Actually, it's 6, right? Attacks for 6. Block. That thing is dead. We're at 4. Not great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold up Counterspell. Okay. This is weird. If I can find a familiar off the top, we would have Flicker Snap Lock. They finally draw glitters. We have a Counterspell. They're going to make their creature unblockable. Fair enough. That's also unblockable. We'll block the Glinthawk. You want to trade? Yes. I would like to get my Muldrifter off the table. We're at 2 life. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. Murmuring Mystic doesn't do that much. Land. Play Arcane Mancer. Get back the Snap. So they have to use 2 mana to make the creatures unblockable. I can snap it, and then I can cast Medium Mines on their end step. Pretty much all I can do. Unblockable. Unblockable. Snap this one. Wait, undo. I want to snap it after they attack so that they can't sacrifice it for a food. Snap this one. Take 1 damage. Plays a Ginger Brute. Let's cast Medium Mines. We have another Meaning Minds. We have the Familiar, Arcane-Mancer, so I think we can get there. Play the Familiar. Arcane-Mancer. Get back Flicker. Play the Floodplain. Going to... So let's start with Meeting of Minds. No, that doesn't... I think we can do that. Yeah, Meeting of Minds for 0. Okay. Flicker here. Back Snap and Flicker. Right now they don't have any mana to pop the Gingerbrute, so I can feel free to bonk, get rid of all their creatures. Flicker again. Snap. Flicker. We are at 1 life though. Snap this one. Untap. Do it again. Bounce the Ornithopter. And pass. So in order for them to attack us, they have to go hardcast, make unblockable, tap out. They will be tapped out if they do that. It looks like they drew the Razortide Bridge for a turn. We know 3 of the cards. Maybe they didn't. We know Ornithopter, Gingerbrute, so they have 1 unknown in hand. But if it's a burn spell, they could kill us here. Synthesizer. Okay. Ornithopter. So they play the Ornithopter for 0. And we know they have just 2 Gingerbrutes left. So I feel okay. We can flicker the 2 Arcane-Mancers for Medium Minds if they don't make their thing unblockable in attack. They make it unblockable. They go for the 1 damage. Going to flicker. Back snap. Whew. Pretty wild here. Just gonna be careful not to misclick at this point. Snap that. Untap. So now I'm going to flicker for Medium Minds. And then cast Meaning Minds with the 2 Mancers and my Floodplain. Okay, Meaning Minds, tap, tap, tap. Draw 2 cards. They're tapped out. Draw some more mana, which is okay. Alright, land. Okay, we find the Faithful with the Mortuary Mire here. Mortuary Mire, the Faithful. Now I don't feel like I can lose because I have infinite life. Play a Familiar. Play Mystic. Ponder. Doot, doot, doot. Take the Faithful. No shuffle. Go ahead and play the Faithful. Then we can flicker here. Making some life here. We're going to get the snap. Bounce this thing. Tap these. And then do it again. Flicker for snap. And they scooped it up. Cool. This is the way. So we want the Nature's Chance. And then negates. I feel like the counterspell is a little bit slow. And I think Ephemerate is medium. I think 1 Murmuring Mystic is also medium. I just want to be able to not die. So that's my plan. Maybe Murmuring Mystic in general is not good in this game. It's not like I need it to win. It does block Enforcers though, so I guess we'll keep 1. And I drew my 1 Murmuring Mystic. We have all these 4-drops. Nothing to do on turn 1 or 2. I'm going to mulligan. Okay. This seems pretty decent. So I have a negate for the glitters. I have Cleric and Faithful. Guess I just keep and put back 1 snap. So my turn's going to go tap land, Faithful. Nothing crazy. Gingerbrute for the opponent. They get in for 1. Quickly at 19. I haven't even taken a turn yet. Lay off me, bro. That's the turn. We draw Familiar here. Opponent plays a tap land. Okie dokie. It's in for 1. Galvanic Blast is now online with the Great Furnace and the 3 artifacts. Play a Frogmite. 3 cards in hand now. Chancery for us. And pick up the island. So here, if they do play glitters, we can go Familiar, snap your other creature, Cleric the glitters. Or just Cleric the glitters. Okay, they're getting in. Now I can play Familiar plus hold negate. Flinthawk's gonna pick up maybe Frogmite? Yeah, okay. Still holding a Pyro or a Galvanic. Land, play Familiar. I'm gonna have to pass because I want to be able to negate on the Galvanic Blast. Donk. Well, I could just snap their Glinhawk and then negate, but then I have snap lined up. I'm just going to negate. I want to do more with my snaps. 2 cards in hand. Odds that one of them are a Thoughtcast is high. I say after they start Thoughtcasting. 2 cards, or 3 cards in hand. No, don't kill my thing. Oh, Relic. Fine. Relic Springleaf Drum. Mirror Enforcer. Okay. Taking 3. They're holding open the Mirror Enforcer for the Relic. And land. Play a Faithful. Go ahead and snap this Enforcer. I'm going to get rid of my Negate. Negate goes away. But now we can hardcast Muldrifter plus have Snap available. In case they have a random Glitters. We're going to be taking some damage from the Glinhawk and the Gingerbrute. But I think that's okay at the moment. Find our Mystic. That's great because that can block the Mirror Enforcer like I talked about before. Now it's very, very good for me. We'll just pass. Kind of have to just hold the snap for any random top deck. Mirror Enforcer for the opponent. They glitters. We snap. Funny that was the last card in hand. If they can just draw another one. They will play the Gingerbrute if they make it unblockable. They decide not to make it unblockable because they don't want to allow me to get back my stuff. Just going to block the Frogma here. They have 0 cards in hand. Alright, I can cast Lorien Revealed, or I can go Mystic plus Dawnbringer. Play the Murmuring Mystic. Then go Dawnbringer, gain some life. There's nothing I care to exile. I'll gain the 2 life, and then attack you for 2. Next turn, I will Lorien Revealed. But like getting the Mystic into play to block the Enforcer was probably where I want to be at the moment. They crack the Relic. That's cool. Most of the times people don't crack the Relic. They make their Gingerbrute unblockable. They seem like they don't have the answer. They attack for 3, 4. I'm going to block, and hopefully they don't have a Bolt in hand. They don't have it. We draw a Negate. Feeling pretty good now. We can gain life, draw cards, and make birds. Eventually our birds can trade with the Glinhawk. Land. We got Meeting of Minds too. Thick. Send. So next turn I can play the Faithful. Just going to wait on the Meeting of Minds most likely. Because I don't need to aggro them out, but getting extra life with the Faithful is good. I don't know, maybe I just cast it. Alright, then I'll have more creatures. Oh, I can ambush. What's Meeting of Minds here? 1, 2, 3. Ambush their Glinhawk. Got the Negate. They scoop it up. Alright. Go. We are here in round 4 versus Adeptoterra. I'm going to mulligan this one. It's very slow. I don't know what he's on. Okay, this one's a little bit better. We don't really want the flicker here. And we'll say go. Okay, he's on his Familiars build. So we're at round 2 against Familiars in this league. We have Counterspell for a Muldrifter eventually. We're starting out very slow though. It looks like he's got a turn 2 Familiar. Lassie, I like these lands, the 7th edition. White border though. Okay, land. Interesting, he grabbed a Plains and then also cycled for a dual land. We're gonna grab our island. Plays a land. Evokes a Muldrifter. Well, I think I'm going to play out my Familiar. And then just cantrip. Archaeomancer. We have Archaeomancer in hand already. So, I guess that's good. Let's see. Maybe not. I'm going to mulligan, or shuffle this. Draw another Familiar. Another Ponder to find a land. Okay, plays land number 4, Ash Barrens, Echoing Truth the Familiar. Probably looking to get rid of my Familiar. We have to shuffle this again. Find a Chancery, that's pretty good. Pick up the land. Go ahead and play Dawnbringer Cleric. You're gonna counter. Okay, so I knew he was just gonna counter something randomly. Going to Archaeomancer back the counter. Yeah, that makes sense. Mortuary Mire on the Moldrifter. So here we will Sunscape Familiar, pass the turn, and expecting counter the Moldrifter here. So we counterspell the Moldrifter. Then we can play Familiar and then Archaeomancer back to counterspell. He's going to snap my Familiar. I'm going to Ephemerate. Okay. If he passes here, I'll cast Medium Minds. Doot, doot, doot. Draw a Snap. Plays Faithful. Got Prohibit in hand. Gets in for 1. We get to Ephemerate on the Familiar, so we don't lose our Ephemerate. Play a land. Play Sunscape Familiar. He has the Prohibit. We have the Counterspell. Counterspell. Okay. Familiar resolves. Evoke Moldrifter. And then snap it. Untap these 2 lands. And then we can Archaeomancer, get back the Ephemerate. And then Ephemerate for Counterspell. And we win the game. Nice. Alright. Same kind of sideboarding here. Last Breaths. We don't really need the Faithfuls. I think maybe Murmuring Mystic is really not where I want to be. Not sure. Cleric seems pretty decent. Let's submit. I don't know if I'd rather have the Cleric or the Murmuring Mystic. I guess the Cleric will cast my Meeting of Minds earlier. Okay, so this hand has turn 2 Fam if we draw an untapped land, or at least we have the Fam in hand, plus Flickermancer Snap. We can play the tap land, cycle for an island, and cast Preordain on turn 2. So I'm going to keep island for the opponent. Cycles immediately, getting a plains. Play the Floodplain, pass the turn. So what do I do if he plays Familiar right now? Okay. Plays I must have just drawn that again. Let's cycle for an island. And then I'm looking for a land here, so I'm going to ponder. So shuffle. We found a tap land with the Lorien Revealed, essentially. So we can cycle Lorien Revealed for an island. Find a Murmuring Mystic. Let's cycle for an island. Then go ahead and cast the Preordain. In case I draw a Chancery. Moldrifter Snap. Don't want that. I think I'm going to bottom the Moldrifter. Really just looking for more lands. Find a negate. Pass the turn. My cantrips have not been finding me lands right now. 4 mana for Murmuring Mystic. Okay. Okay, so we find play Familiar. Then I can snap this. Play Archaeomancer, getting back snap. Or just cycle for an island. Play land. I think I'm gonna wait. Not do anything here. It's okay if he gets a couple of birds in play. Last Breath, I will attempt to negate. Probably has a response. Unfortunate. Oh yeah, we knew we had the Prohibit, so I guess I should have snapped that earlier. That wouldn't have really done very much though. Look at that Meeting of Minds. Fancy. Okay. Cycle for an island. Just go ahead and get your Mystic off the table. Play Archaeomancer. Getting back negate. Got 3 power on the table. Swings for 3. Alright. We have 1 Familiar that's just dead in the water. Going to play a Chancery. We are pretty behind on lands right now. Snap the snaps their own bird to make mana. Now they can play Murmuring Mystic. Archaeomancer. Get back Last Breath. Kill my Mystic, or Mancer. Yep. Play my Murmuring Mystic. I think I'm going to lose this game. Don't have any card draw. Not being able to draw off the Familiar, or the Moldrifter was bad. Oh man. If we draw a Moldrifter, we can go Drifter Ephemerate with Negate backup. Just had the answers for my stuff right now. Meaning, they cast a Lorien Reveal, draw 3 cards, 8 cards in hand. Not looking good. Gets in for 2. Yeah, okay. I'm on top decks. I accidentally F6'd during my turn. No attacks. Play land. I will go ahead and do the concede this time. We're too far from anything. Let's get rid of this cleric. Nah, I'll keep the cleric. We just didn't have anything to do. Kind of got stuck on lands. I think I'm gonna keep this. It's not very good. Play land, go. Just don't have anything going on in the early game. They play Lorien Revealed for an island. Let's play a land and pass the turn. No familiar. Cycle. Grab an island. We're looking for little things to do. I'll play the Mortuary Mire. Then on the next turn, I can cast Medium Mines on their end step. They get a tap land. Plays a tap land. Okay. Land, pass the turn. They have 4 mana available. Let's cast Medium Mines. They'll allow it. I'm going to ponder, looking for a land. Okay. No shuffle. Play the island. Question is, should I preordain? I think I'm going to Mancer for the Medium Mines. With Arcane Mancer, try to get back Medium Mines. They probably just have Remove Soul or something. Okay, I guess I don't. They could Last Breath it right now. My Arcane Mancer is dead. Dead. A Mancer to get back Last Breath. Okay. Well, I get to slam a Muldrifter. Hideout. So we get another island in play. Play Muldrifter. We're going to go to 8 cards in hand. That's the turn. I guess I'm going to get rid of the one of the snaps or the flicker. I guess a snap here. They have Last Breath for like my familiar if I play a familiar. We got 5 mana. Looked like they were contemplating snapping my Muldrifter. Plays a Muldrifter. So it's probably going to Drifter Flicker Drifter. Ephemerate the Muldrifter. Last Breath my thing. Okay. Good to do. We draw. We will exile your Arcane Mancer. Snap your Muldrifter. Then cast a Lorien Revealed. So their Ephemerate is going to exile forever. They have to hard cast the Muldrifter, which is fine for them, obviously, but we wanted to snap the Muldrifter so they don't get the extra cards, and they also have to hard cast it again using their mana. They're at 9 cards in hand as well. We're slightly ahead on cards, but we're kind of even on everything else. Got a negate now, but tons of lands in my hand. A Merchant Scroll. Finding Essence Scatter. Okay, plays Mortuary Mire, doesn't do anything. Find a Last Breath. And a Preordain. Sunscape Familiar. So I'm going to bottom this land. Pop the Familiar. Play my Chancery. Picking up the island. I just bottomed the land, so I guess if I cycle for that island, we'll pretend that I put it into my hand. Interesting. Not really sure what I should do here. Whether or not to shuffle. They cast Medium Mines. Okay. I'm going to discard the cycle land. Plays a familiar. Going to attempt to Last Breath their familiar. Last Breath that one. At least get it off the table. Okay. And I will try to cast Medium Mines. They let that resolve. I have Counterspell and Ephemerate. So, play the Sunscape Familiar. They have Essence Scatter. I let that resolve. Play second Familiar. Familiar. Play another Familiar. We go for a Last Breath. I'm going to Ghostly Flicker as a counterspell. Okay. Resolves. So now I just need a way to draw cards. If I can find Arcane Mancer, I'll be really ahead. A Muldrifter as well. They have Muldrifter in hand. We have Counterspell. Oops. They're hard casting a Lorien Revealed. Okay, negate. They cast Prohibit. We'll cast Counterspell. That sucks. So now if we draw our Mole Drifter, we can't even cast it because of the Essence Scatter. So I have to draw my own Lorien Revealed. Find a Cleric. Okay. Play the Cleric. He'll get rid of their counterspell. Pass the turn. We got Familiars, but we don't have counters. We don't have card draw. They have Essence Scatter. Like, we're really, 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 really far behind. They can just hardcast a Mole Drifter and then just bury us here. Yep. Opponent casts a Merchant Scroll. Gets a Meeting of Minds. You draw for turn. Find a counterspell. I don't see any way for us to win. Yep, you have a Meeting of Minds. Brainstorming. I just had more counters than we did. Yep. Maybe I made some mistakes on my cantripping, I'm not sure. There's a Seagate. Another Familiar. Another Seagate Oracle. So they're down to 2 cards. Or 3 mana available. If I find a Mole Drifter, I might be able to resolve it. There's a Seagate Oracle again. I'm hoping to find a Mole Drifter here. They're attacking for 2. Mole Drifter, or actually probably our best would be the Lorien Revealed. We're at the mercy of the top deck right now. They have 3 mana available. Find nothing. Alright, let's go to the next round. GG. Round 5 versus Countertop Garchomp. I believe they're from Japan. Could be wrong. We have some early plays. I'm going to keep this. They're usually playing aggro. So, like, Familiar is pretty good into Jeskai Glitters. And that's what they're on. We also have a Mystic on turn 3 if they can't kill my Familiar. Let's bottom both of these cards. Mortuary Mire could be good if we find that the Familiar gets killed, but no, we just got to start doing stuff. Froggy. All the glitters. Okay. Play Familiar. Pass the turn. So this next turn I'm going to Arcane-Mancer back the Preordain, and then the turn after that I'm going to go Murmuring Mystic Preordain so that I can block with Bird on the Frogmite. That all depends on them not killing my Familiar right now. Glinthawk picks up maybe the Springleaf Drum. Yes. If they have another Glitters here, I'm going to be really disappointed, but it'll be fine. We'll maybe live. Maybe. That's pretty hilarious. Pretty hilarious. Indeed. Arcane-Mancer. Get back Preordain. Your turn. Okay, so we know that their last card in their hand is Springleaf Drum. They have a ginormous Frogmite. Block. Go to 4. They're going to draw a card for turn. We can go to 2 next turn. Find a Snap. Okay. Still going to play this out. Murmuring Mystic. Now I don't have to die to this necessarily. Frogmite's gone. I can untap here. Preordain. I'm looking for counterspells and life gain. Don't want that. Is a Mole Drifter even good? I think no right now. Another Familiar. Okay. So we can block and Meeting of Minds. We can kill the Glinthawk with the 2 birds. Play Frogmite. We're dead to a Galvanic at any moment. Okay, Meeting of Minds. Draw. I was really looking for a Familiars build that could beat Jeskai, and I guess I did. Double Glitters, turn 2, easy peasy. That's really funny. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the Ephemerate and the counterspells. Then the choice is Cleric or Mystic. I do like that Mystic can block. So maybe it's worth it. Can we just go down on negates? Just 1 negate. Although I guess it's speedy. Maybe on the draw, I should have 2 negates, and on the play, only 1 negate and 2 mystics. Okay, this is wonky. They're going to 6, so I'm going to keep this. The problem is that it's very slow. We go land, cycle for a tap land, play the tap land. But then we have Dawnbringer Cleric as a blocker / kill your glitters. Okay, we can Island Ponder. Find a Chancery and Preordain. That's really good. Okay, things are working out. So this turn we will just preordain away that island and play the Chancery, picking up this island. Plays a Ginger Brute. No second land. Okay, Chancery. Pick up the land and preordain. I think I bottom both of these. I also have the Lorien Reveal to draw a land later. Discard a land. Now we can Sunscape Familiar, hold up negate. Plays a Springleaf Drum, so they can tap the Ginger Brute for 1 mana now. Plays a Thraben Inspector. Okay. Frogmite. Things are happening. Land. Play a Familiar. It's turn 3 and it feels like the late game. They've done a ton of stuff. Okay, what do you got? 1 mana for a Thoughtcast. Let's negate. I'll block your Froggo. We draw a land. Put a lot of lands on the bottom. Let's cycle for an island. Play Dawnbringer Cleric to gain 2 life. And then preordain. Looking for snaps. Find a snap and a Barrens. Okay, I can top both of these, I think. Maybe the Barrens isn't the greatest keep, but it gets another land into play, and then the Mortuary Mire later can do stuff. It glitters the Ginger Brute. Swings for a bunch. We just block and block. And then we can snap the Ginger Brute. Donk. Untap. Play Archaeomancer. Grab the snap. And they scoop it up. Okay. Okay. So we ended up facing 2 mirrors and beat one of them, but lost against the other one, against Adepto Terra. I mean, that is his list. He knows how to play it well. I feel like that this deck was pretty good, and I think I'm just going to keep running with this for a while. So overall, I think that the Murmuring Mystic plan this way is a little bit stronger than the Prosperous Pirates plan, potentially. It's nice to go wide and just like get incidental value. I don't know if this is like the best way of doing stuff, but it's really fun to play Meeting of Minds and Murmuring Mystic together, that's for sure. All right. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Once again, thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.